why targeting pass-catching running backs will help you play to win fantasy football in 2022. So let's first take a look at 2021 at running backs that had 40 or more receptions in the full season. Here's that list, and there's 24 running backs that hit that mark. 11 of them finish as top 12 running backs, so 45.83% of this list. 5 out of 24 finished outside of the top 12, but inside of the top 24, so almost 21%. And then adding those two together, we had 16 out of 24 finished within the top 24, so 66.66%. 8 out of 24 finish outside of the top 24, so only 33.33%. 9 out of 24 finished with 15-plus points per game in 2021, which is a pretty high mark. So in general, looking at 2021, the percentage of guys that finished within the top 24 was much higher than the percentage of guys that finished outside of the top 24 when looking at 40-plus catches. Which draws the question, who in 2022 can hit that 40-plus reception mark since it's so valuable for fantasy football? Kind of broke this down by tiers of how much upside I feel like a running back can have for the pass-catching department. So my tier 1 guys are Christian McCaffrey, DeAndre Swift, Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones, Leonard Fournette, Alvin Kamara if he's not suspended, and Najee Harris. Tier 2, Travis Etienne, Saquon Barkley, J.D. McKissic. You can see the list of guys in Tier 3 and Tier 4. Hines, Hunt, Patterson, Chase Edmonds, Javonte Williams, Dave Montgomery, Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott, James Conner, and Joe Mixon. So tiers are kind of a breakdown of like, hey, this guy might have like 80 catches, whereas, down the tiers, this guy might only have like 43. Some question mark guys are Josh Jacobs, Breece Hall, Michael Carter, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Tony Pollard, James Cook, James White, J.K. Dobbins, and Rex Burkhead as potential guys that have 40-plus catches. A couple different impacts on this and some variables. Total touches is important. For example, Eckler had 74 receptions to Taylor's 40, but Jonathan Taylor had 332 carries to Eckler's 206. Volume is king. ADP, or where guys are being drafted, is important as well. McKissic, for example, is being drafted as the RB45, whereas DeAndre Swift is the RB8, and all the guys in between right there. And the last factor for a fantasy finish with guys that hit a certain mark is health. So why target pass-catching running backs? Well, they have an elevated chance of a top 12 finish, like we talked about looking at 2021 data, a solid chance for a top 24 finish for fantasy football as well, again, looking at last year's data. There's also a cushion for points per game. Again, when guys are scoring points through the air and on the ground, you want those guys in your team. Target pass-catching running backs.